growing up, the first 9 years of my life, I lived with my mom. She had a mental disorder. She had schizophrenia, manic depressive. She would go off her meds. It was chaos all the time. She didn't work, obviously, because she had severe mental issues. So for the first 9 years, it was very unstable. We moved around a lot. It was just me, her, and my brother. So at 9, I think that's when I started to transition to my grandma's more. And I think by 12, I was fully living with my grandma. I think that working in a kitchen was not a necessity. I think that growing up in a weird way, not in a very non-traditional family setting, creates a perspective that most people don't have. I had a lot of rebellion in me. I wanted to rebel hard against everything when I was younger. So the kitchen is the one space that will accept everyone. So I think it was just inevitable. It was just completely out of where else would I fit in? Where else can you go where there's literally a ragtag pirate crew? It's some of these guys got felonies, some of these kids were dropouts, it didn't matter. The kitchen will always take you. I never had a family structure. So the first time that I had say a family structure would have been through music. So I found music and I felt like it was a really intimate thing. You're alone, you're 15, 14, you discover something that speaks to you and you consume that music. And then you find a bunch of ragtag, a bunch of punk rockers out there, thrashy kids just like you, through the music, and you find that blood didn't ever really matter, that you can find people and you can find your family. And I felt like cooking does the same thing, because you're generally going to eat with the people you're closest with. I'm Chrzan, and I cook at Friendly Foodees. I'm the head chef. I'm 37 years old. I'm married to my wife, Larissa. I have 3 boys, Cassius, Lennox, and Maverick. They're really proud of what we do. They're really happy to have a space. They often talk about it. It's one of the first things they say to everyone is, we own Friendly Foodees. They look at it as a group effort. My middle child, he says he's gonna be a chef. I hope not. I hope he does something better and bigger. The reason why we opened Friendly Foodees in Alpena was because this is where we're from and where we grew up. And we always felt kind of outcasty in this area. We always felt different. All my friends were the punk rock kids, the hardcore kids, the skateboarders, the BMX kids, that was us. So to me, the best way to rebel against everything is to still do things exactly how I want it to be, uniquely me, a unique space that is totally out of my head, because if I did anywhere else, it would just fit in. Here, it's so against the grain. The space here was definitely created for the people that don't have anywhere else to go. I think that at first, that was always part of the goal. That was the idea of throwing all the art on the walls, having our friends come and paint the walls with us, and creating a space that we uniquely wanted to be in. And then it just kind of transitioned into a menu where oh, now it's all allergy friendly. Wow, where we can cater to all these gluten-free people and we can do this so that people can go out and enjoy space together. They can go out and eat, no restrictions. And then people who don't necessarily feel like they can fit in a regular fine dining establishment, they feel uncomfortable in that more elegant space. I think that this loosens you up a little bit more. We've created a small little community of people that we see every day or every other day that I don't think we ever expected. We just wanted to be this cool, unique place that might throw some bands in a small space once in a while and slang bagels. And now we have regulars that come in every day and we're checking in on each other, and that's really cool. What I do so different, I think, compared to a lot of other places, is that it's not necessarily health centric. It's more about what flavors are going to touch you in the way that you have a memory of. What flavors did you grow up on eating? What flavors brings the general public joy? I wanted to cook you something that might maybe remind you more of what your parents cooked, but do it in a plant-based space instead of doing it in an avenue of we just serve kale and lentil. One of the things that like people always think about when they think about vegans, it's like they think that people are trying to shove it down your throat. And I always am taking an avenue where I'm not trying to shove it down some people's throat. That like your food preference is your preference, right? All I'm doing is trying to deliver a good eating experience to you in the only way that I know how to do it. We treat all of our drinks like they're craft. So when we make a coffee drink or we're making a seasonal menu item, I'm always trying to push the idea that we are treating it like we are like a dish. It's got to be complete. It's got to have certain things. It has to have fresh ingredients usually, or it just has to be done with lots of intention. When I train someone on the espresso machine, or I train someone to do coffee and everything, there are certain things that are big do's and don'ts that any place that's going for speed, they do every time. And here, I don't care how backed up, you're going to follow the do's and don'ts, just because if someone's waiting, they might as well get a very, very good cup of what they're waiting for. It does bring me joy when you see people happy, when you're creating something that people enjoy, and we're doing it in such a unique way where we're catering to people that are always second thought. You know, every restaurant treats someone who might have a dairy thing, or someone who's eating plant-based, or someone with a gluten-free as second thought, and we're always trying to give that person center stage still. Like, we're trying to cater to the person who's gluten-free as much as we possibly can to make it as delicious as we can. So it does bring me joy when you see people genuinely surprised that they're eating something that shouldn't taste as good as it does in that moment. At the end of the day, if you just come in once and try food outside your comfort zone a little bit, I hope that it changes your perspective about food a little bit, and that we're mostly focusing on the fact that we have a lot of other options that we can choose when we eat. We don't have to focus on the ones that everyone's used to or accustomed to.